Usually, when you want to announce a video game, you have a conference, or you put out a press release, or, ideally, you just get Keanu Reeves to do it.
You're breathtaking! You're all breathtaking!
Sometimes, though, game developers like to tease their upcoming projects with secrets, Easter eggs, or references in other earlier games, some of which only make sense much later when the game they're referring to is actually officially announced. Here are 7 times developers did just that. Enjoy! What was the first game Sonic the Hedgehog appeared in? If you answered Sonic the Hedgehog, then shame on you. You call yourself a Sonic fan? I need your badge and your gun. How did you even get those? The actual first appearance of Sonic the Hedgehog was in 1991's Radmobile, an arcade racing game from Sega that was decidedly less rad than the name promised. However, Radmobile did have one thing going for it, in that your unnamed driver chose to adorn their rearview mirror with a Sonic the Hedgehog ornament, which can be seen swinging back and forth in what has to be described as a dangerously distracting way when you're going 200 miles per hour. Sonic the Hedgehog wouldn't be released for another 5 months, and with game news as hard to get a hold of as it was in the pre-internet 90s, for many people, this would be the first they saw of Sega's soon-to-be international superstar Blue Hedgehog mascot. Just hold on, Sega fans. Only 5 more months. Then you can stop playing Radmobile. Developer Naughty Dog is a rare studio that has not just one, but several hit game franchises on its hands, from Uncharted to Crash Bandicoot to, of course, 1994's Way of the Warrior. Their magnum opus. Most recently, Naughty Dog's flagship franchise has been the Last of Us series, which debuted in 2013 for the PlayStation 3.
I just want some simple gear, enough to set me on my way.
I reckon it's got something to do with that girl.
It's got everything to do with that little girl.
The Last of Us was announced at the Spike Video Game Awards in December 2011, but that wasn't the first time that anyone outside of the studio had heard of it.
He tells me how these streets were crowded with people just going about their lives. Must have been nice.
In fact, there was a sly reference to The Last of Us in Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception, which came out in November 2011. A newspaper found in the corner of a pub in London has the headline, "Scientists still struggling to understand deadly fungus," which is a pretty good summary of the basic setup of The Last of Us series. If the picture had been of someone killing a dog, it would have been dead on. Behind the scenes, it turns out that Naughty Dog had intended to announce The Last of Us before Uncharted 3 came out, with a big reveal in June of that year at Games Industry Expo E3. But then that E3 reveal had been delayed, so the Easter egg planted in Uncharted 3, which was originally intended to be a fun nod to the upcoming fungus zombie game that everyone would have known about, actually ended up preempting the official announcement of The Last of Us and almost ruining the surprise. But the delayed Last of Us announcement went off without a hitch a month later at the Spike Awards because no one paid particular attention to the newspaper Easter egg at the time. And to be fair, Nathan Drake doesn't seem particularly bothered either. Nate, buddy, you might want to keep an eye on that whole fungus zombie thing.
You must like what you see. Snap out of it!
Catherine is a bizarre psychosexual puzzle game in which, at one point, you have to fight a baby with a chainsaw, so that's good and normal. It's made by Atlas, the game developer behind the hugely popular Persona games, and it was in a Persona game that Catherine was first referenced before anyone else even knew the game existed. In Persona 3 Portable, released in North America in July 2010, you can encounter Vincent, the protagonist of Catherine, in Club Escapade. Here he is described as man drinking alone, and he outlines the plot of Catherine, a game that wouldn't come out for another year, and which wasn't even announced until a month after Persona 3 Portable's North American release. He also asks a high school girl if she's seeing anyone, which, hey, Vincent, maybe don't do that. Why the developers thought anyone would be excited to find out more about Catherine after this self-pity party with a sad rando in a bar, I have no idea. But hey, that's kind of Vincent's whole vibe, so at least you knew what you were getting into when you eventually played Catherine. Batman Arkham Asylum is set in the mental health care facility of the same name, a state-of-the-art hospital overseen by a warden.
I'm Warden Idiot. You'll never escape.
Poor Warden Idiot. He's trying his best. Oh wait, turns out that's the Joker doing one of his hilarious goofs, and actually, the Warden of Arkham Asylum is a man named Quincy Sharp, whose office you can find in the Arkham Mansion the asylum is built around. Sharp's office isn't just a place of work, however. It also contains a secret room hidden behind a nondescript wall. When Arkham Asylum came out in summer 2009, this secret room contained details of Arkham Asylum developer Rocksteady's next Batman game a whole 4 months before it was even announced. The room in question isn't on any maps, doesn't appear when Batman scans the walls with his detective vision, and the Dark Knight needs several doses of explosive gel to get into it, which explains why no one actually found this Easter egg on their own. After 6 months, Rocksteady had to sheepishly tell people where to go looking to find the secret room, and, more importantly, the secret announcement of the next Batman game. The room itself contains some horrible statues and some office equipment, but most importantly, the blueprints for Sharp's next big plan and Studio Rocksteady's next big game, Arkham City. Of course, by the time people found it, the game had already been announced thanks to Warden Sharp hiding his secret room so well. Guess Warden Idiot is smarter than he looks. The best kind of secret game announcement is the one you only realise was a secret game announcement much later, and then you feel kind of stupid for not catching on to earlier, but in a fun way. A fine example of this is the first mention of Bungie's beloved 2014 loot shooter Destiny, which appeared way back in 2009's Halo 3 ODST. On several levels in the game, you can come across this poster advertising the Ascalon Corporation, which, with the benefit of hindsight, is a pretty massive spoiler as to what Bungie's next big franchise was going to be. The poster says Destiny Awaits, revealing the title of the game, and the poster shows the Earth alongside what Destiny fans will now recognise as the Traveller, the big space ball that hovers at the heart of Destiny's story. Which is cool, and it's the only reference to Destiny in the Halo games that I've found, because apparently my discovery that Master Chief's crotch plate looks like the Destiny logo doesn't count. Bungie's actual words. Unbelievable. Paper Mario 64 is a charming, colourful role-playing game in which Mario must solve puzzles, defeat enemies, and of course, violate his brother Luigi's privacy by reading his diary as often as he possibly can. In Mario's house in the game, which he shares with his brother, there is a secret panel in the bedroom. Smash that panel open with a ground pound and you can discover a secret basement in which Luigi goes to write in his diary about how much better and more popular than him his brother is. The diary isn't just tragic missives from a clearly troubled mind, however. It also gives us the first glimpses of what would become the excellent Luigi's Mansion series, in entries which establish Luigi's now canonical fear of ghosts, and the fact that he wants to play the lead in a game that would have his name in the title. Shortly after Paper Mario 64 came out, the GameCube launched, and one of the launch titles was Luigi's Mansion, a Luigi-named, Luigi-starring game that featured him being very afraid of ghosts, just like his diary said when Mario broke into his secret room and read it. Are we sure Mario is the good guy?
What's the story between you and the boss?
She was just like a mother and my master. Half of me belongs to the boss.
Not all the games that get secretly announced in other games end up making it to shop shelves. One such game is Zone of the Enders 3, which was announced in 2012 but ended up being cancelled, presumably so Kojima Productions could give the development budget to Norman Reedus instead. But the 2012 announcement of Zone of the Enders 3 wasn't the first time it had been seen in public. That distinction goes to 2004's Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which actually contained a playable prototype of Zone of the Enders 3 that players can encounter shortly after being tortured by Colonel Volgin.
Ready to save, Snake?
It's here, after Snake gets freaked out by a story about Dracula, that you can save your game, reload it, and suddenly find yourself plunged into a dream minigame known as Guy Savage, in which you're playing as a new character, armed with hook swords, who has to fight off hordes of zombie-like enemies. During press for the 2012 Zone of the Enders HD remaster, it came out that Guy Savage was in fact an abandoned prototype for Zone of the Enders 3. If Zone of the Enders 3 had actually been finished, this prototype would have served as a playable demo years before the game was even announced. As it stands though, the full game never existed, which makes Guy Savage the only chance ZOE fans will have to play what could have been another installment in their favourite franchise. Kind of like PT in Silent Hills. Why does this keep happening to Kojima, I wonder? Is it because he gave all that money to Mads Mikkelsen? Because I'm fully on board if that's the case.
Happy birthday.
There you have it, those were just some of the video games that were secretly announced inside other video games. If you enjoyed that, why not drop us a like and subscribe to Outside Xbox, and you could even hit the bell button to get a notification every time there's a new video like this one. Thanks for watching.